Okay, it's time we got all this started. I am really, once again this week, I am not feeling it. I've gotten nothing done, as you can see. Well, I've gotten a little done. I removed sort of the there was a big brown blob in the middle of the field there. I removed that because we don't need that. And some of the foreground grass here had actually been drawn on the path because I didn't switch layers. So I removed that from the path and I redrew it on the appropriate layer where it belonged. And that was basically all that I did. Now, I wanted to look at a whole bunch of pictures of cobblestone roads, and I didn't really get to do that. I downloaded some, but I didn't really do a close look at them. And I also wanted to do some other stuff this week. I wanted to do some more figure drawing. That's a thing that I've been trying to do. I decided that what I want to do is I want to make 11 o'clock at night every day my time to go and do some art. And the first week I decided that, I went and did that like 4 nights out of the week. And then the next week that I did that like 2 or 3 times. And then this last week I didn't do it at all. And that's how that's typically how New Year's resolutions go. But I wasn't doing a resolution thing. I was just, wanting to do more stuff. So that didn't go as well as I'd hoped. And since you're watching this, you're watching on YouTube, clearly, and I'm gonna go ahead and remind you to do the little YouTube dance. You like, comment, subscribe, and all of that stuff. And I'm gonna jump on down here into the voice channel on the Discord, and I'm gonna share my screen. Well, first I need to pull up the windowed projector. And we're going to come over here to the window projector. There it is. We're going to go live. Hey, presto, there we are. And anyway, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do some looking at this reference for the cobblestone roads. And the idea here is that maybe somebody who's even worse at this than I am can watch this video and go, hey, I understand how to look at a picture and get better at doing the thing that you want to do. I don't know if I'm especially good at that. I don't have any real tips, tricks, or secrets or anything of that nature. We are still in the proof that I have done the work stage of this channel, which is not so much about watch me teach you cool shit as it is about watch me be a complete fucking idiot who doesn't know what I'm doing, because most people never show you that. And it's important. It's important to know that everybody you watch, no matter how good they may end up being at something, started out at some point being an absolute fucking moron and not knowing what the hell they are doing. So, yeah, this is a stage where I'm a fucking moron and I don't know what I'm doing. And maybe that'll be inspirational later on. And who knows, there's no telling what somebody's going to get something useful out of. But, one of the things that I'm trying to accomplish with this is I'm trying to get in the habit of actually getting on here and doing a stream at 11 o'clock every Saturday night, which I've been doing now for a good long time. God, it's like, I think we're actually at 15 months or so. Huh. Wow, that's a long time. So anyway, the last Sketch Weekly chapter was 60 weeks. And in this Sketch Weekly chapter, this season, as I'm calling them, is like 5 or 6 weeks. So you put those together, if you've got like 65 or 66 weeks, well, you got 52 plus 13, and 52 plus 13, that's a year and a quarter. So, yeah, that's a good long time. Anyway, I had a terrible thing happen this last week. I lost the tip of my stylus. I don't know what happened to it or where it went or how something like that even happens. But I do have spares. I just had to find them. And I did find them, and I was able to replace the pen tip. But that's distressing because I'm like, what happened? How did I lose that? And where did it go? And there's part of me that still goes, where is it? Like, where could it possibly have gone? It's not like I carry the pen around all over the place. But let's take a look at some cobblestone roads here. Now, what I ended up doing is kind of classifying them by where they came from. Because the first one that I got is Dutch. And this is the image I had in my head when I was like, I want to draw a cobblestone road. And this image is just like, there's stones of different sizes and textures and shapes and colors. And I'm like, yeah, that's the image I get in my head of a cobblestone road that actually looks, reasonable. It's like something you'd actually see. And the Dutch are very good about that. They really kind of do their architecture in a colorful and interesting and meaningful way. So that's nice. And then over here, I've got this French cobblestone road. And this one in particular I found interesting because you can see that... let me add a new layer on here so I can... do some sort of doodling to say... is what I'm looking at. You can see right here that we've got this... you can see right here that we've got this sort of regimented, very smooth, very straight lines, but it's beveled upward. And it's beveled upward so the drainage actually sends water off to the side. Okay? And because that sends water off to the side, you can see that the cascading water over the years has made these stones very smooth. Rains a lot in France. And we've got these nice straight sides, and it looks very nice. And you can see that, like, you've got the edges, and you've got the center right here, and this is where you would ride your bike and whatnot. But then over here, we've got this additional area right here where you've got these cobblestones, and these are all just very small and very kind of round, and they're of all different shapes, but they're also just like, they're not really regimented. It's just like they dumped a bunch of rocks that they gathered up along the sides. So you've got this very clean central area here, and then you've got an edging, and then around the edges, you've just got kind of this crap thrown in the way. And you've got an additional edge right here to kind of say, here's the actual edge of the road, and it's sort of like, here's the sidewalk, and here's the street. And I kind of thought that was interesting. So I picked this picture up, and I thought that was an interesting thing to take into account. Then over here, we've got one in Pennsylvania. All of the rocks are kind of gray, but you've got kind of a dark gray and a light gray. I don't have a layer to do that on. But you can see right here, we got the dark gray, we got the light gray, we have a kind of a medium gray right there. They're all different shapes. Excuse me. And they're all different shapes, but they're all roughly rectangular. Some of them are short, and some of them are long, and some of them are kind of fat, and some of them are kind of skinny. They're all different shapes, but I was also noticing that there's all this grass coming up between them. So they've got comparatively large gaps among the rocks in there. And I thought that was interesting. Then we've got, here's a road in Poland. And you can see you've got a little bit of grass and vegetation coming up. But mostly what you're looking at is just a just a simple kind of regimented square brick shape. This is less a cobblestone road than a brick road, in my opinion. And it's just got this kind of coarse dirt in among them. And then you've got over here, this one kind of struck me. This is an old Roman road. So that's very kind of, very irregularly shaped. That. So it's very irregularly shaped. They've got rounded edges, they've got straight edges, and you've got very wide areas in between them indeed. And it's just kind of in there like that. So I was looking at all of these, and then we've got over here is a Spanish cobblestone road, and this Spanish one is just like, it almost doesn't look like there's anything to it except like a little bit of texture. It's nice and uniform, and I think that's something that we really see on all of these, is a sort of a uniform texture to the whole area, and then there's sort of the space in between. Okay? So I feel like the right way to do something like this would be to take like a sort of mid-grade color, and let's do a whole new layer for this. You just kind of do this mid-grade color that goes over the whole thing, and then you would come into the middle of that and you would go, okay, now we've got in the middle here, we've got the sort of, here's this mortary, these little spaces in between everything, and we would sort of go over that. And I think these are sort of a bad collection of colors. Let's get something that's a little bit more contrasty. Let's make this a boulder there, and we would we'd fill in the space in between the rocks here with a sort of, here's the color of the dirt thing, and we'd make sort of little spaces around the edges. So you just sort of draw that in, and then once that was kind of in place, then we would go through and worry about the contours of the rocks themselves. But I feel like you would start just with a kind of just with a sort of base size, and then you would just fill in the slots as you went. With the right kind of shapes, and then that would sort of knit into an overall texture. And then once you have that sort of texture, what you would do at this point is you would go, okay, well, starting from that color, we want to go a little bit warmer, and we want to go a little bit lighter, and we want to kind of go, well, here's the sort of the direction that the light's coming from. And we would give ourselves the lighting on these. And I think that as we did that, that would give us a sort of look like these are individual rocks, and not just like a pattern painted on the ground. I kind of feel like doing that would get us somewhere. But you also look at this and you can kind of see that most of the top surface of the rock is all that sort of same color. So we should really go a little bit larger there and just sort of fill in this space. Most of that surface gets a kind of top lighting. And then you just kind of get a textury sort of thing. You just have sort of, and that kind of thing, if you pull the bottom off of it, that does kind of sell the notion of a cobblestone road. And I don't really like the texture of the Spanishy one, but then you could also go through kind of this thing here, and you could alter some of the colors and some of the ideas that are going on in there. And you might want to go, okay, let's get a slightly different color there. Maybe lower the size of the brush a little. Then we go a little bit darker and we start going, okay, well, let's shadow that edge there. Let's shadow that edge there and that one there. I think that actually substantially. So, might take this. I think this needs to be really kind of narrow, like that. So we got a sort of this, kind of like that. And I do think this sort of sells the idea of this being a cobblestone road, which is really what I'm going for, is to just kind of sell the concept of what you're looking at. And have it look like a meaningful facsimile of a cobblestone road. But I would also really like to kind of do something along the lines of this Dutch road where things are different colors. And another way you could do something like this is you could kind of you can pull this. Let's bring it on over here. We'll paste it in, and we'll move it down here. And okay, brush. And what we want to do here is just kind of match. We're going to do an edit, transform, perspective transform. It's not. I want to work from now to apply the transformation. Now we want to go from that, with that layer, we're going to go transform, perspective transform. And what I'm looking at here is to kind of get the we want to get the general look and feel of the road. I want it to feel like we're looking across it in the right direction. So we want to get a sense of what our perspective is. And then we want to correct it. So that it looks like this is our like this is the road we're actually kind of looking at. That looks just about right, actually. There we go. And now we can take that and we can pull it down to and apply that transformation. Pull that down to just above our path, like so, and we can take that path and we can clip it to the layer below. So, okay. Then we can turn off layer 2, which is our rocks. And then we can sort of give this a look and see, having transformed it to kind of look like this is the space that we want to work with. How would we go about making our cobblestone road look like this? And I think the way we do that is to I think we start by working on layer 2 up here, which is where we had our previous sort of thingy. And working on layer 2, let's turn that on. And actually, let's duplicate this layer. Where's the there should be a duplicate layer button. There doesn't seem to. It is duplicate layer, and we'll hide the one that we used to. We'll hide the one that we used to draw the crappy rocks on, and then the one that we didn't use to draw the crappy rocks on, we'll just delete it. And now we'll grab We'll grab that color and we'll just kind of go, okay, we're gonna have a rock there, we're gonna have a rock there, and we're gonna have a rock there and a rock there, and we're just gonna kind of go through and paint in the vicinity of the rocks. It doesn't actually matter whether the colors match. What matters is that we get kind of a sense that that these are rocks. So let's go with that color there. So if we just go kind of, there's sort of a rock there, rock there. I think we need to. No, we're gonna use the mortar color to kind of firm up the colors of the rocks later on. So we'll begin by sort of putting in some blobs, and once we've got sort of a good selection of different colors, then I'll just like pull that image all together. Actually, it's sort of dark. I'm gonna use a dark gray here and sort of light gray here. That's let's just kind of play around in the color space. Throw little blobs around the area. It's okay if they come a little bit above the path there and give it a sort of a rough edge. Come here and grab that color there. Here's one here, here, here. Now, all I really want to do is kind of sell the idea that this is Cobblestone Road. And I think now I should be able to just hide Dutch and just work from sort of these that we've got. Put the these spaced out. You know, that's really the only thing that we need. We could start from, let's build a little palette. We'll build a little palette of the colors that we're going to be using for rocks. And, what am I missing out of that? We're missing that one right there. And we're missing, that's pretty much it. No, that one. We don't have that one. I don't. Where's it? That one we didn't have. Those are the same one. There's a kind of a lighter blue. Okay, so what we want to do here is we just want to kind of go in and go. We're still thinking in terms of where the rocks are, and let's actually wipe all of this, and now we'll just go. Okay, kind of whitish cobblestone. I'm just gonna think in terms of where I want these to go. And we want the closer one to be a little bit bigger. I want them to be kind of wide. I want them occasionally to be sort of irregular. Don't need to worry too much about the edges. Now, having done that with that color, we can now move on to basically any other color, and we can just go. Now, these cobblestones are going to sit sort of, and you can put a couple next to each other. You just want to sort of scatter these around the space. And we'll clean up the edges later on. So I think what I want to do here is just kind of get a good scattering of those, and then we'll add a scattering of these. Just kind of go through the different colors, pulling them off the palette. Till you have more or less filled the entire space. I think, yeah, this is more or less the right way to go about this, I think. Let's go with some blue. The blue's a little bit old, so let's kind of keep it down to a minimum. Or maybe we'll do the blue ones are kind of larger and bolder. Yeah. Blue ones are going to be kind of chunky. Yeah. Kind of. Well, think of this in terms of the whoa, I'm missing an entire area there. Well, let's see how well this works out for this area first. I move on to this next bit here. We already did that, so. We just kind of keep that in there. And give ourselves a sort of, I'm not liking the look of those, so let's add up. Oh, probably work this out even better is if I took the blend, I just kind of blended across the. Ew. I took the blend and what if I use? How do I blend just this one kind of area? What if I hit all other layers and then just kind of blend it across that? No, that's not really working well. Okay, we don't want to show all other layers. We want to turn off that one, and we want to turn off the layer to copy. All right. So there's a work process thing in. gray, dominant. You know, that's really what I want to do is sort of start off with what's sparse and move on to what's dominant. Just sort of like clear out these little areas here. Oh, what I want to do. Uh, huh. Let me come down here to our path. Um, grab that color and darker, a little bit cooler. Let's zoom in here and go. All right. Go on. Sort. Wait. Wait. What if I take the brush itself, change my blending mode to multiply? Okay. And now, grab the color. And what if now I lock transparent pixels? And that's kind of. I just. That will work out well. I think sell the idea pretty well. I just go down here. Okay. Here. Up. Sort of crack in the. It's a real mistake to keep doing this without going and taking a look. Yeah, I can either do this by sampling each individual rock and getting Now let's look at how that comes across and see sort of what it looks like. And that from close up is not great, but more of a distance. More of a distance where when we're looking at just that little bit right there, I think our perspective's off a little bit. Yeah. It's not flat enough. It should be more flat, but as far as making it actually look like a cobblestone road, I think he's actually doing a pretty good job. Okay, so you know what? I'm gonna duplicate this subtool. Call it the shade brush. Put it right here under custom test. On this one, I'm going to change the lighting mode back to normal. On this one, I'm going to save all settings on it to default. Yep. This one. Save all settings on that one to default. Okay. Yeah, that's so now what I can do is I can go, all right, I'm working with this rock, so let me go to my custom test and I can I can work on the shape of the brush. If I first of all let me uncheck transparent pixels so I can work on kind of the shape of the rock with that. And then having done that, I can go shade brush. And I can just go around the outside. I wonder if there's a way to set a brush so it doesn't paint over. Anti-overflow. Starting and ending. And over. Not cross lines of reference layer. What if I do that? What if I save my shade brush? Okay, so now if I take my custom test and I've got my alpha turned off, if I go, all right, I'm going to modify the shape of that, and then I come to my shade brush, I go, all right, no, that doesn't do it. But I can set that as my reference layer. Then set it as my reference, then I get the same basic effect. It will no, it doesn't. Nope, that's not what I'm looking for. So I don't know. I don't see a good way to erase ink, anti-aliasing, brush shape, brush tip, stroke, texture, ink, opacity, color mixing, multiple. Eh. Well, I'll just have to do the protect thing. And that's okay. And not much at all. That'll work. The question is, does this really sell Cobblestone Road look? I think it does, actually. I think the spaces could be lower. Spaces could be smaller. I could, yeah, these should be closer together and really just kind of packed in. But other than that, I think this really does. I think this really does sell the look. I mean, provided you're willing to go kind of cartoony, which is what I'm looking for anyway, with a sort of an anime art style. So yeah, if you just sort of start with a okay, I think what I want to do is okay, so what we would want to do is start off with like, okay, let's make sure we're on our custom test and not the shade brush, and we want to go, let's go a little bit larger with, so if we just kind of fill in, here's our sort of light gray. And then we go with the darker gray. Already used darker. Then if we go with a lighter gray, put that in there. I think what we want to do is sort of get our field together and add in our sort of color in the gaps. We don't want those too free. And then we want our kind of dark. We're just sort of looking for gaps. Can fill. We go back to our dark gray, to our light gray, and just sort of layer everything one on top of the other. And then after we've more or less got all of that taken care of, no more there, I think what we do at that point to get things nicely variegated, I think we want to cover up that bottom line. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and we're going to take the color of that bottom layer and we're going to outline individual areas. We want to round everything off. We want to make everything just kind of a nice round space, like so. circle around each individual area. Just kind of round off all of these little corners. Everything nice and smooth. Just want to move all of these boundaries, all of these areas. One stone color runs another stone color. We want the stone color to always run into the edging color. If we back up from that, holy crap. That works really well so far. So from that point, we just switch over to the shade brush and we just go, okay, we're going to oh, okay. So at this point, what we want is magic wand. That's not the way we wanted to do that. Back this up. And what we want to do, we've got our substrate underneath of that. So what we want to do is instead of lining it, what we want to do is we want to come in here with the brush and we want to put it on transparent. And we want to carve stone. We want to carve the stones out. Yeah. That's the right way to do this. That's going to work. And then this bit right here, once we've got that carved out, and we've got the sort of mortar of the stones established, I've got my brush a little wide on the small. So now that we've done that, at this point, I'm already working on the shade brush. So at this point, we go preserve transparent pixels, and now start. Shading in the space there. We're not going to worry about the rest of it. We're just going to bits that outline. So we just kind of put them very close together on, and that looks like a pretty good job. And now if we scroll out a bit from that, that does a much better job of selling it right there. But the yeah, I've got the mortar a little bit wide. I think I need to mess around with the spacing a little bit on this, but I think I'm onto something here. I think I've actually I've got something that is it's usable, for God's sake. I mean, wow. Okay, we got somewhere. We really did. That's kind of interesting. So I'm going to take a screenshot real quick that I can throw up on Twitter. And we're going to go ahead and call it on the stream. And thank you for showing up and for being here with me while I fuck around and figure stuff out. And do a little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, all that good shit. And okay, bye.